Well, let's go back for a minute and examine the likelihood of any sort of American uprising.
Oh, it's going to happen.
Nah, because we had the Great Depression here. All right, we had the Great Depression, and massive unemployment and massive unrest, and all there was in the way of mass communication was radio and newspapers. Okay?
Yeah.
No Twitter, no Facebook, no TV, no satellite. There was nothing really to distract the American people and keep them happily ensconced in their chairs. There were no Kardashian sisters. There was no Piers Morgan with a canned interview tonight on CNN of Colin Firth. Really. With when you consider the time difference, what is it, 7-8 hours between the Eastern Time Zone and Egypt, at roughly 5 a.m. Egypt time, CNN is going to be airing a canned interview between Piers Morgan and Colin Firth. Really. That's, Jesus. But anyway, none of that existed in the Great Depression, and it didn't happen then. The bonus army marched. That was about it. There was discontent. There were people riding the rails. There were people out of work, desperate. The Socialist Party tried to get a foothold. Huey Long preached a brand of what would be deemed a sort of socialism that was quietly co-opted by FDR and the Democrats and made banal and bland and palatable to a large segment of the American population, and the American population stayed right where they are. Now, fast forward to today, David. You've got a cable channel for every possible interest under the sun. You've got a cable channel for people who want to watch guys shoot deer. You've got a cable channel for people who want to watch talentless people make asses of themselves. There's probably 6 or 8 of those channels, really. You've got channels where you can sit quietly and watch the news and be spoon-fed somebody's idea of what you're supposed to think, regardless of whether it's CNN, MSNBC, CNBC, or Radio Rwanda. You've got the standard fare programming of CBS, ABC, and Fox. You've got HBO. You've got Showtime. You've got Cinemax. You've got everything. You've got every possible means of manipulating the American consciousness that there is. And even if the cable goes off, there is still, for a vast majority of the American people, there's still over-the-air television. It ain't going to happen. It is not going to happen. Because even with the protests for the Iraq War, which were massive, the protests against the Iraq War in 2003, massive affairs all over the world, you could barely get the news outlets to cover them because it was deemed not in their best interest, and they were doing the bidding of the empire. And of course, those protests then just dried up and blew away, and it was as if they never were. Among other things, geography. The geography of the United States militates against any sort of mass uprising. The only thing that changes anything in the United States is a massive natural disaster, and I mean massive. I'm not talking, it would make Katrina look like a walk in the park. Humongous, something like a massive earthquake along the New Madrid fault that would destroy everything south of Minneapolis all the way to the Gulf. Something like that. An eruption of the super volcano under Yellowstone. A humongous earthquake that makes the last San Francisco one back during the World Series look like nothing. Or something near enough to have a direct impact on the American life. But political unrest, it isn't going to happen. As Chris Hedges noted, we have gone past any possibility of that, and we're now living in the twin realities of both 1984 and Brave New World. And when the Brave New World soporifics don't work, the 1984 crackdown damn sure does.